Hello, just doing another small video, which I'm not going to do much work. This is purely for theatrical purposes. So I like the long handle spade because it's very handy for weeding. You can use it like a big hoe, particularly if they're heavy chunky weeds. It's really good. This plant here, Hydrangea Bluebird. Now you have to be careful, there's Bluebird and there's Blue Wave. I think that's Blue Wave, which is also known as Mauritii perfecta. Bluebird is a form of Hydrangea serrata, or sometimes is Hydrangea macrophylla serrata, the Japanese hydrangea. I have found it is more frost tolerant. And if we look at this, and it seems to almost flower in the new wood, because that's new flowers, and we're mid-July, and look, that's new growth and there's a flower on it. Because you can see the old growth is very dark. That's because it got frost damage in early May, late April, and often damages the flower bud, so that means you don't flower that year. But these seem to be able to handle it much better. The serratas, now they're not as big as the macrophylla, they don't have big flowers, but that's a really good plant. Bluebird, and look how far up it's gone into the Magnolia, right up, really high up. And the thing about it is, the Magnolia's in the way, isn't it? Really, it's kind of luxury when the Magnolia is given. When the Magnolia gives trouble by growing too strongly, that's kind of luxury, because it's generally they won't grow well enough. So that's Magnolia Susan, also really good. You see this? That's Leycesteria formosa golden lanterns, and I like it. It has a bamboo-y effect without running everywhere. Now, I plant a lot of it. If I like something, I plant a lot of it. And they got a bit rangy. And one of them I whacked back last year, or early this year. I actually cut it right back. I don't know what was going to happen, and it's absolutely perfect. So that's the secret of that. Every few years, just go mad, just absolutely butcher it back, and it will come back lovely and tight and dense and perfect. And anyway, that's gone Bluebird, but it's also called Pinkbird if it's on limey soil, and I'll show you that out there. Yeah, okay, we'll get you another piece of bamboo. I have to get a bit of bamboo for these kids. Don't do this at home. That's a good bit. Is that a better one?
Yeah.
No. This is a fern, a relation of our native male fern. It's called Cristata The King. And look how big it is. It's a fantastic plant for a shady spot that is not like a swamp. Really good. And there's the normal form in there that's not cristated. That's the normal male fern in there. And oh, look what we have here. Oh, look. That's the Chilean flame flower. You should never have pink with red. But there it is, growing through the blue hydrangea as well. It's related to nasturtium. It's Tropaeolum speciosum. And the funny thing about it is, it's one of these plants that people have great trouble getting to grow. And then if they get it to grow, they have great trouble getting rid of it. It looks really good growing up through a dark hedge, like a yew hedge. And even though it can be invasive, it runs along the soil. And the secret I found is lots of organic matter, a layer of bark or something. The roots will run between the mineral soil and the organic matter. And once you've loads of organic matter, off it will go. Now, it's all over here, completely. There it is, even growing through the Eupatorium as well. See, it hasn't flowered yet, but it's grown up through the Eupatorium. So it's lovely, and unlike bindweed, it has similar characteristics of bindweed, but unlike bindweed, when it dies in the winter, it doesn't leave any. It's because the leaves are small, it just kind of disappears. So it's never messy. Now we go along here and look at. I did a video 2 weeks ago about we were cutting back all the Hemerocallis because we were trying to break the cycle of the midge, or is it the midge or the beetle or whatever it's called. that grows in the unopened flower buds and ruins it. It ruins the whole ruins the entire flowering period. So anyway, we got rid of every single one, of course, and look, we found one that I forgot about, and it's a really nice one. And they're called daylily because they flower for a day, but there's always another one the following day, and it doesn't appear to have any issues. It doesn't appear to have the bug inside them, but if I was ruthless, I would remove them all, but I'm not. I'm leaving them. I'm just taking off the dead ones. I think they're okay, and they're edible too, I believe, but don't I won't guarantee that one. It's an interesting plant. It's a Senecio. Senecios, I remember, big shrubs from we used to have a big shrub. It was very popular, Maritima, in the olden days. Not popular anymore. Yellow flower, and this is called angel wings. And what's interesting about it is, I don't understand it. It's an amazing seller. It just is a plant that sells unbelievably well, and I don't know why, but it is good. Now, to be fair, it is good. Like most silvery plants, it would like sunny spot, nice sunny spot and dry soil. But it's really, really good. And look at that. That's a little snail having a little graze on the silvery stuff. Hey, almost quite nice. Better go outside. I just mentioned two more plants. There's a Hemerocallis I'm going to plant here. It's grown for its foliage. It's golden zebra. It's actually a really good one, and I'm going to plant those two there. And the flowers are yellow, so the flowers disappear kind of into the foliage. So if the flowers are red, it would be amazing. But that's the way they are. And we planted two of these last week. That's Eupatorium rugosum chocolate, and it is a very fine foliage plant and very, very reliable and kind of hard to get. Really, really good. Really good. And Potentilla Arc-en-ciel is like a rose. That's a really, really good plant as well. I think that means rainbow, and hard to get. And there's a little Potentilla called, I think that's gold coin, small one. But that's really worth getting if you can get it. Now, what I could do, I could probably do it being lifted and split and redone, because that's been there about 10 years. And we'll go outside now because there's a lot of customers here. I don't want to disturb the customers. Yeah, well, we had to sort of escape into the garden, and this is Rosa Wiltshire, and actually this is the I call it, it's the hillbilly deadheading. This is work if you're in a hurry, just to get the worst of it off. The first spot should be done is this, but I haven't got time. But that's a good temporary fix. And then if the owner of the house comes, you can start doing this to say you were weeding. We used to do that years ago. That's a very hard plant to get. It's a Crocosmia. It's called Hellfire, and it's supposed to be one of the reddest. Quite nice. There's Arc-en-ciel again, Potentilla, and I think we have a different one here. And it's completely lost in here. You can see the way it's flopped. It's too much shade. Look how red. Look how red this is. Vibrantly red. And I don't know the name of that one. It's a single one rather than that one is a double one. But that's really good. And it's good foliage. So that'll have to be lifted and moved somewhere else. When that was planted, that each tree was much smaller. So it's time to move. It doesn't do any harm. You can lift it, split it, put it in a sunnier spot and off and go again. Now, Exactly, yes. Another hydrangea, that's called Masja, and it's very large flowers. It got hammered by the frost, absolutely hammered. If you look closely in, the foliage got really badly damaged. That's why there's hardly any flowers. So that's one if you're in a really cold area, I wouldn't go for a Masja, even though it's beautiful. Now when that goes a lovely purple colour in acid soil, it's sort of just roaring red on limey soil. And here is Bluebird again, but it is pink bird. You can see the difference. The soil here is obviously limey, but if we wanted to, if we leave that over time, the soil tends to naturally acidify, particularly the organic matter going into it. Anyway, that's that. This Geranium Rozanne, which never ever fails. And here we have, I think that's bloom time, that one is called. It's the same Wiltshire. It's good. I don't think it's quite as good as Rozanne. And a couple of plants here. They were moved last year, they done really well. This here, the yellow loose stripe. It's a bit of a runner, but it is controllable, and it's very easy and very reliable. That's one I'd recommend for particularly sort of an area of the garden that you find a bit difficult to get something for. It's very reliable and very easy. So it's an very old-fashioned one. And here we planted this Laburnum last year, and the rabbits got at it, and it made very little growth. And this year, look at the growth. 1, 2, it's made 3 feet. It's going to be, what I'll do is in the winter time, I'll have it when all the foliage is off, and have a look, and we'll make a multi-stem tree out of it. It'll be really, really good. And what else have we got? Yes, that's doing very well, our Paulownia. We cut it back this year as well, and it's doing really well. So we're going to try and get in here to look at, I think, the best hydrangea we have in the whole place. We have to be careful. We have to get in and not make a path, because once you make a path, others use it. So look at that self-seeding. That's Helleborus. I think it's Corsigus. Look at self-seeding. We leave that there. Make it in here this way. Look at that. Isn't that super? Now it's fallen. You see the way it's fallen down on other stuff? It's fallen down on the fern. It's not really meant to. I don't know how it, I think that volunteered itself, but it's a very good colour if it did. I don't remember planting a buddleia in here. Oh, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's as good as any. But I came to talk about this. Now it got a bit damaged. It got hit with bamboo, and we had a very windy night 2 nights ago, and very rainy, and a lot of bamboos came down and it hit this. Now look at that flower. That is something else. That is a Hydrangea Aspera. We think it might be Sargentii, but I'm not sure. But there's a lot of, there's a good few of them. There's Bellevue, there's a good few large flowered ones. They're well worth having. And what they need is a nice sheltered spot so that their big felty leaves don't get damaged by the wind. It's absolutely beautiful. And that will get better and better and better as the years go on. Now, remove this. Let's see what else we have. we'll wait till, yeah, we're going to talk about the Crocosmias. It's best yellow, and it really is lovely. It's about the best yellow one, lovely clear yellow, and I'm going to have to dig a load of that up for pink because everybody wants it. It's amazing. And there's something else here that I wanted to, yeah, there's two things I mentioned about these before. These Geranium Rozanne. Rozanne is a Geranium Rozanne, but this was the original Buxton's that I put in. It's seeds everywhere, coming through everything. And I'm at the stage now that I have to dig some of them up because they've kind of taken over.
The garden is beautiful.
Ah, thank you.
And then the chocolates.
Thank you. I'm doing a little video.
Delete that, love. I don't have my hair done. Delete that.
Delete. Thanks, Danny. Thanks very much. But, so, anyway, I forgot what I was doing. Yeah, yeah, these Wiltshire, they are taken over. We have to be careful with them. But sometimes all you need to do is just remove bits that are going the wrong way. But it's still super. This is the hanging. This is the hanging cut leaf Japanese maple. I think it's called garnet. And we've got to grow up. What you do, very simple. You get a bamboo cane, tie a bamboo cane, and then you get a whippy shoot. Say like that, and you bring that up, and that forms another layer higher up. And then when that thickens in a few years, you go up higher. You can get as high as you want, basically. And you're meant to remove the bottom ones then, because the top ones come all cascade all the way down. It looks really good, but it's actually very easy to do. Let's see, what else have we got? Yeah, the Astilbes are coming on really good, and the Astilbe chinensis types, they're the less common types. They're later flowering. They are much better if there's not enough, if you have issues with water. The other ones don't tolerate. The normal ones are they don't perform well if they run short of water. But these ones, they have longer. Now, we didn't water. We didn't put the sprinkler because we waited, and about 2 weeks ago the heavens opened, and particularly in the last 3 days we must have got more than an inch of rain, and everything is back to normal. It's absolutely brilliant. What's this here? Look, it's really good, and it looks like it's a different color than that. Oh yes. This is to show you my horticultural thinking. In the last video we had that one, and it's called Rocky Star Indigo. And it is actually, I want to run around and get there's Black Knight, and there's Rocky Star Indigo. We take the old one off, and this difference, it is darker. It's kind of bluer. It is definitely different. That's a fresher flower. And we had a nice plant. I just mentioned we had a lovely hydrangea. What was it called? Oh, it wasn't one of the paniculate hydrangea, vanilla phrase. And I pulled it up. I only had it in for a week, and I pulled it up and put that there in this place. And my horticultural thinking behind it is, we've a load of them. It's called Aspera. It's a type of a mallow family, related to mallows and lavatiers and stuff like that. We've a load of them in the shop, and they're not selling. So I put one in here. That's purely for sales purposes, to see will it work. And actually, pink, it's a good colour combination here anyway. And it's actually on a bit of it's actually meant to be standard It's on a bit of a stem, which is not what I want, but I'm kind of hidden that. But we'll see, it's a good sunny spot, we'll see will that work. Oh yes, we have to look at a few problems. I can't actually mention the problem because there's people sitting on the seat behind the problem and they'd be in the video, so I can't mention the problem. What was I going to look at here? There was something I was to look at here. Oh yes, that's the Leycesteria golden lanterns. I'll go over to it and you... That was more or less cut to the ground this year because it got very rangy, and look how well it's come back. So that's what you do with it. Super plant. It does self-seed, but this is what you use for the self-seeding. You just get them out, you know, in the wrong place. Like here, you see them. I don't want them, the euphorbias. Some rootless, you see it? Now we could pot them up and sell them as it happens, but you know, very slow to farm because of the pine tree. Let's see, that's it. Yes, that's the house on all the rain is going to come back nicely, and that's a beautiful bluey colour. A little bit damaged there, a little tiny bit from I don't know what, but very little slug damage, but it's good. And there's Hydrangea Annabelle, and this is the first plant I ever planted in this whole place, the first herbaceous, that Eupatorium. And what happened there was I had no intention of putting the garden in, and that came back to my job, and I just took it out. Used to be able to get trailer in here, and I just threw it on top. It was never planted. That was just put on top of the ground, and it just did its own thing. So, and up till about 10 days ago, it was like that, lack of water. And I was wondering, will I have to water? Will I have to water? Will I have to water? I didn't want to water stuff. And then till we got back to normal Irish weather, and it just stood up perfectly. You know, everyone's giving out about the weather, by the way. I've overdone these. They work so well for me, the Persicaris and Plixicaulis, but that is a lovely rich ruby colour, a smallish leafed one, a smallish flowered and smallish leafed one, and I think that's a winner. So we're going to keep that, but we're going to be very sort of zero tolerance with the Persicaris. If they got too big, we're going to remove. We're not going. Before I was letting out, I was leaving them alone, and that's what happened. And look what we have to do here. We have to take all the branches off the Serbian spruce to here, so that this can come into its own again. This was the first. This is kind of a sentimental plant because I love the Korean dogwoods, and I got a nurse in Belgium. I got some from them about 15 years ago and knew nothing about them. Great trouble selling them, and I just stuck one here in a bad spot and forgot about it, and it turned out to be brilliant. And I had the other dogwoods, the flowering ones, the American ones. I found them not to be any good. Eddie's White Wonder and all those. I tried all them and they were useless. They just didn't perform. But the Korean dogwood performed really well. So we must have a similar climate to Korea, except I think they get stronger winters and probably stronger summers. But maybe up the mountains would be a bit more similar to us. So anyway, that's sort of sentimental value. Now let's see. We go out the back. Look at the combination there with the rose and the Crocosmia Paul Speciale. That good? So that's what I wanted to mention. I was very happy about that. I mentioned it once or twice, and a rabbit is after. We've got a rabbit now, so there you go. So I don't know what, it's very annoying. I'm hoping it's not a rabbit. I hope it's a dog, that someone had a dog in a dog, because dogs sometimes eat grass. I'm just hoping, because if the rabbit ate that, well, there should be more rabbit damage. You know what, the rabbit damage. It must be just total gourmet rabbit, you know. Now, oh yes. It's a lovely Actia. And that's super. I planted that a year ago and it's really well. It used to be called, I think, Semisa Fuga, and they changed the name to Actia, but they're really good. Oh, look at this here. That's a Persicaria, one of the small flowered ones. In fact, it's not much different than the one out there, trouble I went to. And this is a different Persicaria. And what's going on here? I don't know. And what's this here? Purple loose stripe muslin in, but it is lovely. Now I think we'll get rid of, we're going to get rid of that hydrangea. We'll get rid of that this winter. It has to go. We'll get something else. Just every second or third year it doesn't flower because of the late frost, and there's no point. It's obviously one. Look at that one, is perfect. Very close together. That one's flowering away. The Zambia. Black steel Zambia, and that's Madame Corlesion or something, some name like that. Oh no, Corlesion is the fuchsia. But anyway, it's gone. And if it was warm, I'd have ice cream to eat. I'm gonna get some. Why am I thinking about ice cream? Ah yes, still be ice cream. Makes you scream for ice cream. It's really good, isn't it? And that's our famous Aster Munch. It's a little bit spindly, and look at this. You get a very similar foliage to the willow herb. I can distinguish. I'm so used to it. I can take the willow herb out. It's a little bit spindly because of the trees. Now you might be getting a chainsaw. That might be going in the chainsaw. Now I don't feel too bad about taking it out, because a friend of mine is taking up a wood turning course. So if that goes, he'll have plenty of wood for his wood turning. So, you know, I don't feel so bad about it. The wood has to come from somewhere. Yeah, we're getting rid of the, all the time, I'm weeding out this all the time. And it's very therapeutic. Every time I take this out, I say, God bless America. Because this comes from America. You gave us this, we gave you the purple loose stripe. Fair exchange is no robbery. Look at the Sanguisorba here. That's one that I would find the name of it. It has a Korean sounding name or a Japanese sounding name. But it's one, some of them get a bit tall and flop and they're no good. But that one doesn't. So I recommend that one highly. Willow herb, while I'm at it. And I remember an old nurseryman telling me years ago he'd have the young lads potting plants up, and he'd come back and they'd potted 100 willow herb because they think they're plants. Cut this out. That's seeded in there. That's the Aconitum pyramidales, or one of those earlier flowering aconidiums. And look at this, isn't that super? And I already gave it a bit of a Chelsea chop. Phyllictrum delavei, it is absolutely beautiful. Not planted there, seeded itself in, and we had mercy on it and left it, but it is beautiful. It is, and any type of rich ground, it will be inclined to fall over, but it is the business. Now, let's see, let's finish off. Let's finish off with something. Oh yes, I have a, you know, heck in a claw of grass. It's very hard to get, and there was a woman in today and she was looking for it, and I said I'll dig her out a piece, and I look in here, completely hidden. So I was able to dig her out a nice big chunk. It was great. Give her that. Here we go again. This one is called White Diamond. And do that. And that's got the weed. Getting a few weeds as well. Here's another one of the black stemmed, and I only planted last year and did get a bit of damage, but even so we've a good few flowers on it, and next year I'd say it will be much better. No, that's more or less it. Let's see. Yes, two things. That's Bluebird again in there. Completely neglected, nothing done with it. This is the really coldest part of the garden, and look at it flowering again, so it's well worth having. And it's one of the problem, I've got a garden centre, and one of the big issues I have, and a lot of people have, is that often the really good plants we don't sell that much because they don't look brilliant in a pot, like the Hydrangea Masja with the big flowers, but that one doesn't look that well in a pot, so we find it hard to sell. But that's really good for planting, where you're anyway issues with cold, which most of Ireland, when you get about 10 miles away from the coast, maybe 8-10 miles away from the coast, then we have the problem. If you're near the coast, you have no problem. Near the coast is just amazing. You can grow anything, or if you're down in Cork or Kerry, just amazing. You can grow any hydrangea, you know. But they complain as well that they get too much rain. So, as I said before, everyone thinks over the hill it's better when they're gardening. So that's it. As I said, I wasn't actually going to make a video, but I'm just looking around. Can you see one last thing to finish off on? One really, yes. New project. We go here. It's a new project. That's the anti-rabbit. We've neglected this now. Last week I went and cut the bottom branches off all the pine trees. I'm going to, and there's still some of them there to be picked up. It's full of nettles. I'm going to bring in next week I'm going to bring in the lawnmower. I'm going to mow it all down really tight, as tight as I can, and then I'm going to grass seed the whole lot. And I want to make a nice area. I'd like to have the public coming in here, but we have a river at the bottom, and I'd be afraid someone might fall in. But I want sort of a wildish look, and then we can see the cattle in the field next door. So that's my next project.